Hey guys, happy Sunday afternoon to you. Well, a couple things I'm going to cover in this video, two different subjects I think. First of all, I've been driving this Fury for a while now, on the weekends mainly, because I don't really want to drive my company car in the weekends because the company pays gas for it, and since I have another car I don't really need to drive it, so I spend enough time in it during the week. So I drive something else on the weekend, and currently this has been the something else. So had some time to live with this thing for a little bit and see, kind of get a read on what kind of shape it's in and what we're going to have to deal with going forward in its repair saga. And I also went to the junkyard today. I went to LKQ over there, which I hardly ever go to because for one reason they hardly ever have anything I want. It's a bunch of insurance cars and trucks and stuff like that, which means they're late models by and large, and they're not Mopars and they're not old, so I hardly go. And number two, they're high. They're too high for what you get, so I don't normally go unless it's their 40% or whatever it is, 40% off thing. So that's not been going on lately, so I had to go ahead. Got on the internet and I saw that they had a couple Mopars in there, so I thought, well, I'll go check it out, because I had a little shopping list together for some stuff from the junkyard, so scored pretty good. Nothing, you know, it's nothing noteworthy, but I thought we'd just go through it and look at it and see what it is. So let's do that first. First thing we got is, this is a alternator and the associated bracketry from a late model D150 pickup, which means from about an 88 through a 91. And so the reason why I wanted this specifically is because this is for a small block, 318 or 360, but you'll notice that the alternator is significantly different from the regular Mopar alternator you've seen many times, and in fact this car over here's got. I'll show it to you here in just a second. But this actually has an improved alternator, and that's why I wanted it, because this is a, get it turned around without breaking it. Let's see here, let's do it again here. You see that tag on there that says Denso? So it's a Nippon Denso alternator. It's probably the original. It's not been remanufactured or rebuilt to my knowledge. I always buy these that have never been touched like that, because when you buy a reman alternator, it's just usually a conglomeration of all different kinds of parts and stuff. So that's good. And also this is a much better alternator, because not only is it smaller, takes up less space, but it's higher amperage, which, you know, that's not on a car like this. It doesn't need a real high amp alternator. I think the one on it's rated at 78 amps, and this is probably a 90 amp. But the deal is with these alternators is that they charge much better at low RPMs. These old alternators, let's go look at this one. These old 1962 style alternators, like this one, you know, they work okay, but they don't charge very well at idle and stuff like that, and this car is no exception. When you sit with the fan on and the lights turned on and the wipers turned on, when you come to a stop at a intersection or a red light or something, you just see everything sort of slow down a little bit, and then when you take off again, it all speeds back up. So, you know, I can sit and watch the ammeter at idle kind of doing this number, so they just don't charge very well. It's an old design, and so it is what it is. The thing about this one too is that it's a, there we go, it's a reman. So remanufactured, says right there on it. I don't care if it does say quality assured. These things are cheaply put back together. So, and that was working, but that's the regulator to it back there on the firewall, that thing. So anyway, that's what we're going to do at some point coming up. We're going to upgrade this thing to this newer style alternator, and I missed this by 1 year because these cars got this as factory equipment in 1988 along with the trucks and the vans and everything else. So we missed it by 1 year. This car's an 87, so oh well. So we're gonna have to do a little bit of stuff for the wiring. This one's got more wires coming out of it. It's got a small blue and a small green, which on this old style alternators are field connections, but it's got two thick wires coming out of it too, so we're gonna have to deal with that, work that out. And you have to get the brackets off of it because these are special brackets. You can't use the ones on the car over there. So anyway, we got that. I was glad to get that. Those people, that was an 88 D150 that came off of. And there were some guys already picking it over by the time I got there, of course. And so I was like, oh boy, don't get over there and get that alternator. But they were just looking for the body part stuff. So there she is over there washing her house off again. This is a breather that goes in the valve cover. This is your crankcase breather. This is one of the original Mopar breathers, so I tend to pick these up when I can find them because the replacement style are just after replacements, not original. So I grabbed those. They're cheap. You can wash these. People seem to, I don't know who brainwashed everybody into thinking you couldn't clean these and re-oil them, but all they are is they got metal wire in them. They call it metal, it's like a metal steel mesh filter type stuff in there. So, and that one ain't ever been cleaned. See all the goop in it? Look at that. So it's got to be soaked and clean and all that. So here's another piece of the puzzle also picked up for the lean burn delete. And this is just a standard single pickup vacuum advance 318 distributor. It came out of a 79 Dodge D-series truck that was in there, and still got the original tag on it. I haven't wiped that off, but it should have the part number and the date code, so we'll look at it now together. And yes, they did originally come with purple and red and yellow and whatever color anodized tags on them. Let's see if this is the original distributor in here. Yeah, that's your part number 4111501, and that's your date code there, 42nd week of 1978. So that was a 79 truck, so that would be the original distributor still in it. It feels good. A little dirty. We'll clean it up. Stuff. The vacuum advance is no good on it, but you can replace that. So we'll go through all that. Shaft's nice and tight on it, so that should work fine. I think I'm gonna end up resurrecting one of my kits I built, HEI kits. And over here we got some stuff I picked up from my Dodge truck back there. And first thing we got is I put on that old style starter, and I've not really been happy with it because it turns over as slow as the one that was on it. It had one of these original for that year Nip and Denso starters on it, and it was a reman. Like I said, if you tell by now, I hate remanufactured starters, so it wasn't working right. So unfortunately, the old style starter, which I like the sound of it, but it doesn't work any better than that one. So just kind of slow, especially when it's cold. So I looked around in there and I wanted to find one of these starters that was original, not been remanufactured, and just so happens somebody had pulled a transmission out of one of those trucks and left the starter hanging there. So there we go. There's the Chrysler sticker, probably the part number or part of it. Yeah, 560277002AC. And all that. It's never been rebuilt. So that's what you look for. You look for a greasy starter like that, and if it stops working, go have it rebuilt. Don't buy just a generic. So I guess I'll probably end up upgrading off that other starter. And I also picked the jack up for the truck, picked the jack handle up, and I picked up that long thing that you unfold that and it runs the jack right there. And I think that's also doubles as dropping your tire down, because the one's gone off that truck. It's all gone. Like Phil says, it's gone. And then over here, if this looks just like a tailpipe, that's exactly what this is. This is a tailpipe section off of a Dodge Ram with its associated bracketry, hangers and such, but that I got because it had already been cut off from the muffler at the junkyard. But this is in good shape, and this is to replace the one that is missing off my truck back there. It either fell off or got taken off at some point, and the muffler's all blown out. So this way I won't have to have them run a generic tailpipe. I can just bolt this one back on there, then go take it and have the muffler put on. So should work good. So okay, let's talk about this car now. Watering them plants over there. I think one of mine died. So anyway, I've put probably about 100 miles on this car now, and I can tell you what's been improved and what has not been improved so far with it. Just detail a few things I did, light stuff I did. I fixed the wipers originally and had them working, and then the linkage broke for the right side, so now I just got one wiper over here. So I'll tell you what, I can't think of a worse job to do to try to get that back on, so I'm not messing with it right now. But I went and painted this, cleaned it up and painted this where it was kind of got some surface rust on it, and I ended up painting it the wrong color. I bought Olympic white touch-up spray paint in a can from the parts store, and that was not the right color. It was too white. So I went back to the well on this and figured out what color this car is actually painted, and it's actually painted Spinnaker white. So I went back to the paint store and had them mix me up some spray can touch-up paint in Spinnaker, and that matched up good. So I got that spruced up some. It's not perfect, but looks better than it did, and hopefully it'll keep the surface rust down. And I got the grill for that in there, painted it and all that. So when I deal with the wipers, I guess I'll put that back on. Of course, you saw I put new tires on, hubcaps, all that. Got that done, and ended up I had only 4 wheels. I didn't have a spare in this car. So I think I mentioned this already. You'll probably see me mention this again in a collection video, what I'm going to call a collection video, just work I've done on this later on if I decide to post it. So I was up in Nashville working about a month ago, and I picked up, there was a 5th Avenue in a junkyard up there at Pull Apart, and so I went on up there and picked that up and carefully put it in my car over there and got the 5th wheel I needed. So that's good. And I touched up, outlined that in black, redid the paint on that thing there. I've got to get this one that's missing. It's supposed to say Gran Fury. I painted this emblem again. All the paint was chipped off of it just about, so I masked that off and painted it, all that. And I added that cheapo CB antenna just for looks. So that's about all I've done really as far as this work on it. But I've mainly been driving it, and I can tell you, I just remind myself something. I can tell you what needs further attention. It handles and rides a lot better since I put those shocks on it, but it's still, when you go over like a big dip sort of deal on the road at speed, it doesn't just go down and go back up again. It kind of does this kind of type thing that it shouldn't do, and I think that's because I've not replaced the rear shocks, and I think I've got one dead one back there, or one almost dead one. So I'll go ahead and get the 2 back shocks and get them put on. So do that, and that should help that out a whole lot. These cars have a lot of rubber in the suspension. The engine cradle, the subframe's isolated with rubber biscuits, which they look okay. I don't see anything bad wrong with them. I don't think that's it. But it's got this thing in the back called an ISO clamp, which basically means that the rear end, as opposed to just sitting directly on the metal against metal on the leaf springs, it's kind of got like some rubber pads in there and some stuff going on, so it can kind of move a little bit. So I'm going to give those things a real close attention to that and see if anything's up with that, because it doesn't really do it going over bumps. It doesn't dance like if you hit bumps just on the street out here. It doesn't really, do this. It's just the big stuff is kind of so. But it rides quietly for the most part. The rear end's making noise, a little bit of noise. That's a 7 1/4 inch rear end in there, unfortunately. The police cars and taxis and stuff like that, normally, and the wagons normally had an 8 1/4, which is a beefier rear end. So I'll be looking for one of those. And it's got this, I think it's got a 224 or 226 rear ratio. So that can definitely be improved upon. So we'll be looking for one of those. It's no rush on it. That rear end doesn't seem too bad, but it's got something going on with it. Let's see what else. It handles pretty good, but that steering box has got some play in it. You kind of, it doesn't pull or anything, but it's kind of a lot of slop in it. Of course, the first thing I always look at, I go looking at the idler arm and the pitman arm and the tie rod ends, just like that truck, but that wasn't the case. When you grab the steering rod down there, you can turn it. You can turn it several degrees left and right before the steering box does anything. So I think we can go in and do the adjustment on the worm gear up there, or the worm shaft, whatever they call it. Anyway, it just kind of moves the position of it and kind of tightens its relationship. I think we can help that pretty good. But, so that's that. But the brakes on this car is awful touchy, and that's just, I think that's just the nature of the beast on these. Just the way they were and the way they are. I mean, they're really over assisted pretty bad. And not only that, but this car's got either one or two very badly warped rotors on it. So I mean, it's just really bad. You put the brakes on, like having to slow down at higher speed. So we're gonna have to deal with that. And the cruise is not working. Will not work at all. This is the kind that's got this is the old style. It's got the split cable system. So not only is the cruise not working, but one of the cables sounds like it's dry. The one going to the speedometer is making a little bit of noise, so I'm going to take that off and lubricate it. And just kind of run through everything with this and see what it takes to get all that going again. But overall, it's a nice car. It strikes me very much as a car that somebody drove at slow speeds, and like all this stuff never bothered them. You know, they never use a cruise, probably, and they never, you know, they didn't go fast enough for the brakes to bother them, you know, or the handling or stuff like that. So it can, you know, we got some more room to improvement. So we're going to put it into the repair garage again. And I want to get that Plymouth in there finished up. I've been waiting on some parts for it. I've been working on the manifolds, which that's a separate video, of course. Been working on the manifolds, and I ordered a Rimflex gasket set for them, which is not here yet. It's been well over a week, and that'll probably take a while. And we're working on a carburetor for this one to replace the one that's on it. That carburetor is terrible. It is sad because this carburetor works good every other way except accelerating. Starts good, idles good, never stalls, never does anything wrong, just it won't go. So working on that, and I gave the parts store down here, 2 different O'Reilly's, a chance to have the carb kit they said they had, which they lied like they're known to do. They don't have it, so I've got to order a carb kit for them. I'm gonna learn my lesson. Don't bother trying to buy car parts in Huntsville. It's a lost cause. And also, I'm going to quit paying $5.99 for a 2-pack of light bulbs, because I can tell you how much those light bulbs actually cost, because we sell them, and they ain't nowhere near that. So I'll be ordering them off the internet also, probably. I think that alternator, this alternator is, I think this thing is internally regulated. I hope it is. Because that's the only bad thing about these old cars. Mopars, they tended to overcomplicate things. You know, the ignition system had 2 or 3 different pieces that could fail in it, when it didn't need any, but maybe just one. Charging system had an alternator and a separate regulator. It didn't need that. So we can improve things, and we're going to. So anyway, guys, appreciate you watching, and always glad to hear comments. And so we will be talking to you soon. See you later.